Good evening and welcome back after 4 months in which, as predicted, we've seen an economic turnaround, an upturn in business confidence and nationwide prosperity. Trouble is, it all happened in Finland. Elsewhere in the headlines, at Heathrow, a British Airways official finds a cunning new way of stealing Virgin passengers. After the Ben Johnson scandal, there are fears that runners at the Asian Games may also have been using steroids. And at Ashford, there's a surprise for French railways when they discover that the British side of the Channel Tunnel rail link isn't finished yet. As Ian's first guest of the series, a man who's had the privilege of kissing Madonna and has 2 conical stab wounds in his chest to prove it, Jonathan Ross. And with Paul, someone who lists his recreations in Who's Who as gambling, gossip and golf, although we'd like to make clear to any children watching that this programme in no way endorses the practice of frittering your money away on golf. Please welcome Peter Cook. And so we muscle in on round 1, which I'll explain for those viewers recently arrived from Mars, features footage relating to 4 major news stories of the week. The slightly complicated question is, what are they? Ian and Jonathan, eyes down. Oh, the first privatised toilet.
That's the Group 4 business, isn't it? That's the...
It is. They've privatised bits of the prison service. 4 prisoners escaped in the first week, which is good sense commercially, because then you catch them again and you charge for catching them.
That's right.
Then let them go again and then charge for catching them again.
Just put them on huge bits of elastic.
It's Group 4 security, well done, whose prison escort service has allowed 4 prisoners to escape in its first week of operation, and whose managing director was hauled before a High Court judge to explain. Just as well his own company didn't have to escort him there, or he'd never have made it. Group 4 denied they were responsible. I'd have thought that was pretty obvious, really. They said that urgent design changes were being made to their vehicles. Bars will now be put on the windows of our vans. They'll be putting locks on the doors next. Paul and Peter, full marks if you can get this.
He's testing her on ducks. What type of duck is it? Quickly, quickly.
What? It is Mr. Patton.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Who was about to throw a child into the water to see if ducks really are vegetarian.
Yeah.
And set it as an exam question.
And students will soon be able to choose celebrities to sit the exams for them. So you could have Lloyd Grossman do your English O-level or whatever. Or Barbara Cartland do the cross-country run, that kind of thing.
It was the NUT conference that we were really looking for, but I suppose you skirted around it. I'll give you 1 for that. Delegates at the conference ruined General Secretary Doug McAvoy's plans by voting against teacher appraisal, but Mr. McAvoy hit back by saying he'd keep them sitting there until they jolly well voted in favour. Education Secretary John Patton recently sent a letter to Lord Griffin in which he misspelt the words advice and sincerely. A spokesman explained that sincerely was not misspelt, the final E was simply missing because the ink did not come out. It's a great excuse, isn't it? I did actually write my essay this week, sir, but the ink did not come out.
So what have the ducks got to do with it?
The ducks weren't integral to the NUT conference.
It's just some red herring, all those ducks right at the beginning, throwing us off the scent.
You might just show a picture of a concrete mixer and then say, well, it's the NUT conference.
Yeah, you might, actually.
Ian and Jonathan, a Euro scam for you.
Yeah, it's
very pretty.
Isn't it nice?
That was Jacques Attali, wasn't it? The fellow, the swarthy-looking gentleman in the middle there.
I think the clue was in Angus's question. What Euro scam is that?
Yes, I think that was a giveaway.
Well, yes. I was building to it.
No. Attali managed to spend 200 million quid in 20 months. That's £1 million a month, which is more than Angus earns.
Allegedly. But there's a man in charge of it all, I believe, above Mr. Attali, called a Monsieur Pisselou.
He is.
Which is just an excuse for us to laugh at a funny French name.
I think I think he's head of toilets, actually, but maybe not. It's absolutely true. It is the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, set up to aid the economies of Eastern Europe, which has spent 200 of its £300 million budget on the reconstruction of its own headquarters and the development of its own expense account. A budget boss, Pierre Pissalou, defended the high spending.
No, it's worth laughing at a funny French name twice, I think.
Even if nobody
feeble laugh over that.
He explained the £75 million spent on their offices, saying, "Our brief is to make people working in the bank happy. If they just divided the cash between them all, they'd be a lot happier." Bank boss Jacques Attali has at least put money into one company, the Czech airline CSA, which is also funded by Air France. And the chairman of Air France is magically Bernard Attali, Jacques' twin brother. The words frog and slimy immediately spring to mind. Paul and Peter, what family affair is this turning out to be?
Oh yes, this is
Clement Attali.
this is Bill Wyman and what's it, the Zimmer frame. Bill Wyman, Mandy Smith. Oh, this is Mandy Smith's mother is marrying Bill Wyman's son, isn't she?
I was taught at school something, a little rhyme which was very helpful. Brothers and sisters have I none, but if that bastard marries my mother-in-law, he'll be my daughter.
Doesn't
Always
that's right.
worth remembering.
Doesn't scan perfectly.
It doesn't scan, that's what made it so hard to learn. It had to be beaten into me.
Or rhyme at all.
Nor rhyme, no.
Nor rhyme. Yes, it is.
I suppose we were wrong. It was about the NUT.
Someone's trying to push a proposal through for a new Euro duck.
Yes.
Ducks are to be standardised all over the world.
All of that's correct. It is Bill Wyman, your first answer was correct, who's said to be shocked and speechless as his 30-year-old son prepares to marry his 49-year-old ex-wife's mother. Apparently the age gap simply isn't big enough. Now his grandson will become his brother-in-law, his mother-in-law will become his daughter-in-law, and his ex-wife will become his step-granddaughter. We understand Carla Lane has already bought the rights to the sitcom. Over 200 relatives...
Woody Allen's bought the rights to the film, I would have thought.
Over 200 relatives are invited to the wedding, but that only actually works out as 7 people. Although he didn't approve of the match, Bill admitted he was looking forward to having a granddaughter. That's if he hasn't already. Which story of everyday life brings us shuddering to the end of round 1. And the curious situation is that Paul and Peter only have 3, while Ian and Jonathan have a massive 4. Well, the rest of the show coming up, but before what remains to be seen, the brief diversion that is our caption competition. Ian and Jonathan have to look at this. Paul and Peter's looks more like this.